Hey everybody, welcome back to 1 Minute Walking Tours. I am your host, Jonathan. Thank you for joining us on this cold day for another part of the Cypress Hill Cemetery, but this is the Cypress Hill National Military Cemetery, which has a number of claims to fame, including a number of Medal of Honor winners, and being established for the needs of the American government, the United States government during the Civil War, when most of the area up here in Cypress Hills was hospitals and areas dealing with the massive amounts of wounded that were coming up from southern battlefields. And after around the Battle of Gettysburg, they've decided they needed far more areas for cemeteries and so forth to deal with. Well, unfortunately, what cemeteries are for. So you can see all laid out, neat as a pin. Cemetery here. Now, one of the reasons we're here is to find the grave of this man. His name is Sergeant Robert Cobb from Georgia, who was hanged for, of all things, terrorism in 1865. Now, in 1863, he and some other former Confederates, they had actually escaped to Canada, being that the UK, or Great Britain, had its stake in the American Civil War, being they wanted the United States to fall apart. So while in Canada, Cobb was recruited by Confederate sympathizers to create, they called them torpedoes or incendiaries, and sort of these glass vials, and they tried to set New York City on fire, thinking that it wasn't fair that all the suffering and privation was going on down in the South and not here in the North. So he is actually hanged in March of 1865 at Fort Hamilton, which is not there anymore, but it is the Brooklyn side of the Verrazano Bridge, right where that is. That's where Fort Hamilton was. Now we're here, the two connected, because he's actually buried here somewhere, along with 372 other Confederate prisoners who were imprisoned at Fort Hamilton and the city, I forget what it was. But anyway, they're prisoned all over New York City, and those who pass away, mostly from disease or starvation or wounds, would be the last one. They are buried in mass here somewhere. But unfortunately, no one seems to know where that is. So it's far too cold and I'm far too lazy to go looking around at all of these. So I do think this is an interesting spot. And the regular Cypress Hill Cemetery is right over there, and they're butted next to each other. So again, expanding out the cemetery belt into other places. You know, there was nothing out here, so they could keep building as many cemeteries as they felt was necessary. So, I hope you enjoyed the tour, and we'll see you here soon on 1 Minute Walking.